Hey guys, this Lunar Magic here, and sorry about the heater noises in the background. It's like -10 here. Oh, and apparently my apartment is insulated by nothing. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas outside, and Santa dropped off a planeswalker. Unfortunately, he screwed up my order and printed it in, I'm gonna say Chinese. I have no idea. Luckily, somebody translated it for us. So, no surprise, Chinese Tezzeret here is black and blue with 2 generic, which is pretty easy to cast. Costing 4 is very reasonable, too. He comes out with 5 loyalty and has a -7 ultimate, so that's never a good sign. He's either going to be turbo powerful or he's going to be just like a super weak utility planeswalker. You know, basically a glorified like trading post artifact where it does a couple things. They're all kind of useful, but none are devastating, and they just decided to slap the word planeswalker on it. And that's what it is this time around, because he has a +1 that says create a colorless artifact token named Ethereum Stone, which has tap, sacrifice this, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So basically he creates a non-attacking Scion. Wow, how exciting. I mean, it's blue-black mana ramp, so that's actually pretty cool. A lot of the really hyper-powerful spells in blue and black cost 6 and up. I would love to see him, be able to do like a Mind's Dilation deck, but unfortunately he's kind of stuck in Artifact Land because of the rest of the abilities. Now his -2 is interesting. You can use it twice, which is pretty nice. It's basically that crappy Eldrazi spell, Spatial Contortion. It states -2, target creature gets +X attack -X toughness until the end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts you control. So if it was used to boost your own creature, that's cool because you could turn it into like, what is that, Aetherling or whatever? Get that 8-1 going. Unfortunately, you can't use this in the middle of combat. I mean, he's just terrible. Just this Tezzeret is pathetic. He is honestly weaker than the Master of Metal version from the Planeswalker deck, which is kind of a pattern in Aether Revolt so far. Now, the good part of this ability is it's basically creature removal. I mean, you'd almost never be able to target your own creature because how often can you truly consistently control how many artifacts you have on the field? So you could pretty much just like -5 somebody, get him out of the way, and then keep going. And you don't really need to ult him, and you don't really need to use the +1 either necessarily. So using the -2 twice in a row is his strongest point. I mean, yeah, it's not like blue and black don't have removal, but it's just nice to have it without having to burn a spell. The only problem is it does quite literally nothing if you don't own an artifact. If you own just one artifact and you want to use it as an ambush, like I said, can't use it in the middle of combat. So it's still not great. It's nice, but it's not great. Now you're probably wondering what his -7 does, unless you speak whatever that is. I'm actually leaning towards Japanese now. It really does look Japanese. I know it's not Korean because I'm pretty sure Korean uses circles everywhere. So you pay 7 and get an emblem with, at the beginning of your combat phase, target artifact you control becomes a 5/5 artifact creature. So if it's already a Gear Hulk, you get absolutely no benefit, pretty much. But if you've got, a servo, a clue, whatever, you can turn it into a 5/5. So it's a free end soul artifact every single combat. That's not bad if you've got a whole bunch of like passive stuff. Like if you start just like chucking robots at people, just chucking the kitchen sink. Like you pick up your Panharmonicon and throw it at the opponent. Which actually, it's basically a giant jukebox, so that'll do some damage. I mean, it's like getting hit by a piano. What's really strange is it does statically set the power and toughness, but it doesn't say that they lose all abilities. So if you had a 1/1 creature with Death Touch, that's also an artifact, you could turn it into a 5/5 and it would still maintain Death Touch. Actually, I'm leaning more towards it being Chinese now. I have an idea, though. This is absolutely brilliant. Maybe Wizards should release spoilers in every language. Like if they're going to release one to America, make it in English. Then when they release it in another country, make it in their language, but then also release all the other languages. Like if this is being printed in, 8 languages, release it in all 8 languages. I mean, if you think about it, it's just offensive and stupid to not release them in every language because then everybody has to wait for somebody to translate it. This translation wasn't even accurate, so if you're looking for like a literal judge level reading of it, sorry, that's not it. Thanks, Wizards, you're just so damn helpful. So this version Tezzeret pretty much sucks. He's a repetitive creature removal on a stick. Other than that, not very useful. I mean, the mana ramp, okay, it's one of the few ways to ramp mana, and 3 turns later you could get off a really expensive spell early, but keep in mind that he himself costs 4. So you could get from 4 to 7 in a pretty big hurry, but I wouldn't rely on that. I mean, it's, if they start swinging at him, you're probably in trouble. Also, you have to have artifacts in your deck, so this is really specific. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into a certain deck, but he's pretty weak. That's fine with me because I am so sick of overpowered planeswalkers. This is actually a perfect example of a well-designed planeswalker. He just does some things that are useful and doesn't ruin the game. Simple as that. He might even take the pressure off your life total for a turn or two. That's what every planeswalker should do unless they cost like 7. Oh, by the way, I feel like I should mention at this point, remember when I said way back in the day when we first saw just a little bit about Kaladesh that it was like artifact oriented, and I said, oh boy, artifacts. They are going to do something that creates a broken deck that uses clues. Whenever it comes to, artifact affinity, that kind of stupid, metalcraft, anything like that, they tend to ignore the other sets. They only test it in the block it's legal in, and then they test it a little bit outside so it doesn't completely break standard, but that's where they usually make the mistakes. They honestly focus more on draft. I mean, if you've ever heard what they said about how they design stuff. So he could just blow away the biggest creature on the planet if you drop out like 15 clues, which if you remember how things were before Kaladesh, 15 clues is a small amount. Now, if you recall, there's another hyper-powerful spell, also matching colors. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's Tezzeret on the artwork. You can't get much more telling than that, guys. I think they want you to build this deck. It's basically a 1-cost black sorcery. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. You gain X life. So it's another version of, Deathwind, I'd say, but better. The whole drain away thing is meant to kill indestructible creatures. So that's absolutely fantastic. But the other thing is, improvise is the mechanic that we know about. It's basically convoke for artifacts, except they don't have to be creatures. Now, convoke was pretty powerful. People didn't make really good use of it, but it was, it was powerful when people used it. It would let you get out a hugely expensive spell for not much by basically skipping your attack phase by taking all of your creatures and just tapping them and using them like they're lands. I loved Convoke. It was one of my absolute favorite mechanics. You just stall with stupid little blockers, and then you tap everything and bring out something monstrous. It was very Yu-Gi-Oh, but in a good way. Actually, Emerge would be more Yu-Gi-Oh, but whatever. So if there's a whole bunch of black and blue cards that use Improvise, oh boy. I'm going to call it right now. People are going to do mad clue drops into, I'll just call it Affinity, because that's what it is. Which is basically improvise, and then into all these, for every artifact, blah, which is on multiple cards. I think that's going to be huge. And then you throw in something like, servo generation on top of clue generation for just the fastest, highest amount possible, plus a little bit of, creatures, maybe like a Chief of the Foundry, and I think you might have something. This is all speculation at this point, because we know, 12 cards from Aether Revolt or something, but it's possible that it'll be a deck. I'm excited to build something like that because, black-blue control removal, that's my jam. By the way, so that you don't have to look it up, the actually good Tezzeret, which, by the way, the first Tezzeret can be used to ramp up and summon the second Tezzeret. That's funny to me. You'd have basically the legendary rule, but who cares? The second one is better. His -3 is target opponent loses life equal to the number of artifacts you control. At this point, with the deck I'm planning, that will win the game instantly. You'll just obliterate the rest of their life total. It would be 10 to 15 to even 20. Clue drops with servo drops, I mean, you're good. Even add Thopter drops, and you're definitely going to kill them. In fact, throw in frickin' black-blue Eldrazi Scion generation, you got the ramp. I mean, there's your deck. There's also artifacts that fix colors and ramp mana, so this really could get going. It sounds slow and it would lose to the top 3 decks right now, but I still think it'll be, a thing. Oh, and that's the thing to remember about Aether Revolt. Everybody's saying, Standard is coming to a close, the big cycle is coming. Well, first of all, nothing is cycling out. And secondly, this is the second block, or the second set in a block, and it's 184 cards, and it's always going to act really supplemental. It complements the cards already in Kaladesh, so all it's going to do is probably make the top 3 decks stronger and create absolutely nothing new. If anything, with 184 cards, I mean, there's not much to work with. Maybe 1 or 2 new top decks will come out, that's it. Otherwise, nothing's going to change, simply because nothing can beat the top decks in Standard right now. And that's a shame, because I was looking for things to change, but at my LGS, pretty much nobody's playing the top decks. They're playing very good decks, but not the top decks. So I always appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to building some, good solid decks that are definitely second rate, but definitely can win. Otherwise, what the hell? I'll keep bringing Gravity Bomb and keep winning with it, because honestly, that deck is unstoppable. Oh, also, by the way, a little quick note, I play tested my Combat Specialist deck. I did it during the Packer game and then at another time versus just everything. People were throwing the kitchen sink at me. They were throwing the Panharmonicon at me. I lost 4 matches and won about 15. So I think that's good enough to bring to F&M. I think it'll win. Oh, I also made some tweaks, so you might want to follow me on Twitter if you want the deck list updates. So what do you guys think of the new Tezzeret? What do you like about his design? Hell, what do you like about his artwork? I think it's cool. He looks cool as hell. It's like Jamaican cyborg, like future time traveler looking Mad Max. I mean, there's a lot going on there. Kind of looks like a wizard, kind of looks like a barbarian. So Tezzeret's a barbarian, wizard, time traveling, Jamaican, whatever else I said. For all I know, that's what it says on the card. I don't speak whatever that is. So you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next video.